Welcome to the Power Up Notes for February 2026. I'm sorry this episode is a bit later than normal, but I was sick last Monday and totally forgot to write and record it last Friday or Saturday when I was feeling better. In this episode, I cover a major milestone in the kernel world as Linus Torvalds moves us towards the 7.0 era, a birthday celebration for the hardware that changed Linux gaming forever, and a deep dive into why you shouldn't always trust the star ratings in your software manager. Whether you're here for the tech, the gaming, or just the Linux vibes, let's get into the notes. Game notes. Mewgenics came out and is quite positive on Steam right now. It's sold over and it's got a very positive review on the Steam store. And it's got over 1 million copies were sold in its first week on the store alone, so big round of applause for that. They really deserve that. I mean, it's a game about breeding cats, so if you love pets and technical stuff, this could be the game for you. So, be sure to check it out. Also, the Steam Deck had its 4-year anniversary in February. Over 25,000 games that are now playable or verified for the Steam Deck. And still the game of the Linux gaming house, people are still releasing new mods for the hardware. It's really a great thing. I mean, I don't have one myself, but believe me, if I had the money to buy one, I probably would. Of course, unfortunately, I heard that it's sold out, so maybe we're going to get the Steam Deck 2 one day? Who knows? I'm looking forward to that, personally. Also, Resident Evil Requiem launched near the end of February, and plays great on the Steam Deck. It shows how great Proton 10 is, so yeah, that's not a game I play, but I've heard that that it runs awesome, so if that's a game you're interested in, and you got a Steam Deck, maybe check it out. But anyways, it's time for the kernel notes. Linux kernel version 6.19 dropped in February as the latest stable branch of the version. There has been massive performance boosts are included in it, so it might be a good idea to upgrade. However, several versions of the 6.0 kernel have been given long-term support status, including 6.12, 6.18, and version 6.6. But if you're interested in the future, Linus Torvalds is pulling us towards Linux kernel version 7 with the release of 7.0 release candidate 1. So, if you're someone who's looking forward to the future, that's maybe something you need to check out. With that being said, it's on to the editorial. We've reached a weird point in tech where good enough has become the standard. We see in the way people talk about software. If it's shiny and has a pro label, we ignore the bloat. But when we look at a tool like Mintnanny, it's saying a 3.2 rating in the Mint software manager because it's too simple. But simplicity isn't a bug. It's the ultimate feature. We've been trained to think that if an app doesn't have a dashboard, but doesn't real-time graphs, it isn't working. Mintnanny just adds your host file, doesn't run a background process, doesn't phone home, and handles www redirects without you asking. In a world full of chemical mess software, bloated, artificial, and bad for your system's health, maybe we should start finding the tools that do one thing perfectly and then get out of your way. With that being said, it's time for the spotlight on Mintnanny. Spotlight for February is on Mintnanny, which stands at 3.2 out of 5 in the Linux Mint Software Manager with 30 reviews. It's a simple graphic user interface for the ect host file. It allows you to basically block any domain that you want blocked, or remove that domain from being blocked if you no longer need it to be blocked. For me, it's easy to use. It also blocks the WW version when I enter the non-WW version into the graphic user interface. It's not DNS, however. It cannot just block a single subdomain, but for people who just need to keep away from certain domains, it's a great tool to have and use. And best of all, it's also protected by the root password. So it can force a person to ask themselves if they really need to remove or add a domain to the list of blocked domains. Like if you're struggling with, say, some sort of addiction, and part of the problem is certain websites, this tool is perfect because you can actually block those websites. So when you try to go to those websites in your browser, you'll get a 403 message. This is great for those of us on Linux Mint. Trust you me. I've used the tool before, and I find that it is awesome. It actually lets me concentrate, and it's simple. It just does what it needs to do, and then gets out of your way. You don't need to worry about it. Once you're done modifying it, you just close it and forget about it. And after I think like 10 or 15 minutes, it locks. Then if you change your mind, you got to enter your password again, which forces you to think and ask, do you really need to do the change? If the answer is no, well, you know what you got. You know that you don't need to change it. But folks, that's all I've got for this episode of the Power Up Notes for February 2026. If you enjoyed the episode, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing. I'll talk to you guys next time I'll see you guys next time on either an episode of Creative Engineering or the next episode of the Power Up Notes. See you then. Goodbye.